Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, featuring now a 1 vs 1 on Langres. Yes, indeed, it's going to be an exciting fight, at least I hope you'll find it's going to be a bit of a shorter one, thankfully. And of course, it's going to be the second cast for the day to celebrate 2,000 subscribers. A great big thanks to all of you, my subscribers, my viewers, my fans, friends and whatnot. Thank you very much. And of course, I hope to see you again once we reach 3,000, 4,000, or even 10, 20, whatever thousand. And of course, to make it even more fun, today the Company Views online peak record has been broken. So that's also quite spectacular. And of course, hopefully next week, which is tomorrow, beginning there, we might even be getting some previews so we can get some more details. Now then, on to the fighting. In the southern corner, we shall be seeing VulpusLupus, a level 15 American, fighting for the 1st Infantry Division. Opposing him shall be Langres ImperialDane, fighting for the 352nd Infantrie Division. And why not? Let's get right down to it. With the very exciting start, Wehrmacht quarters going up for my pioneers. Engineers setting up, and of course, note edges of the base, always very important to note. Standing up with the engineers, and I tried something slightly different. Instead of saying both pioneers, I actually construct the Wehrmacht quarters, which I know won't really do much. I immediately set some of the pioneers to just take a point. In this case, I'll have the fuel slightly earlier, and of course, I'll also try and spling them up a bit more. Having decided my earlier strategy, perhaps, trying to keep them closer might not always work. But barracks on the way there for VulpusLupus. Engineers heading over towards that munitions point. Full Grenadiers on the way from the Wehrmacht quarters. The 352nd being sort of the only real sort of decent quality infantry division the Americans actually rumble into during the Normandy landings, the ones that also held the position at Omaha Beach. The division having been trained to sort of fight on the eastern front and had been expecting to be sent there over there any time, but then sort of ended up fighting the Americans. And it was also admirably well equipped, more equipped than some divisions nearby would have had access to. It had Sturmgeschütz instead of Martyrs, which it was actually supposed to have, but it couldn't get those, so instead it got Stugs. It also had a Nebelwerfer Battery attached to it, which again were rather reserved for corps or panzer divisions. But we are seeing a bit more spread out, using the American rifleman right here to connect the point. He's going straight for his high munitions point. Not unusual there, flaps being a bit naughty. Volkswagen is securing the strategic point there, thus connecting as well there. Schwimmwagen on the way as the 2nd unit. That's something I've sort of begun on now. Gives a bit more, line of sight. Gives me reconnaissance right at the beginning, but the MG mounted on it is in fact a reasonably decent weapon to support the Volkswagen early on. Plus, I will have it out faster than the American can get his 2nd Rifleman squad out. Flaps being a bit silly. Bit unfortunate that. But, I mean, getting back to the whole bit, that sense I can actually get a bit of an advantage early on with the Volkswagen Schwimmwagen combination, although you can use a bike. I do prefer the Schwimmwagen because that's tougher than the bike and more maneuverable. Yes, it's also a bit more expensive, but that's, of course, what you pay for survivability. Pioneers and Engineers fighting over here, and I note that he's actually moving away his riflemen. And of course, in that case, I immediately run here for the strategic cutoff point and the heavy cover. Schwimmwagen providing the larger advantage here. And of course, note, as he's moving out of cover, although in this case, he's actually waited until the MG5, but still, in that sense, my Schwimmwagen can open up with its MG. And note, it's actually doing a bit of damage. I mean, it's actually more accurate than the LMG 42, meaning, but otherwise, mostly the same, except not quite as suppressive, but still, it can actually do quite a bit of damage. That's sort of fun fact. Pioneers over there taking a beating. And Schwimmwagen pushed about the rifleman a bit, thus forcing them quite more into the situation. And now I actually hold the advantage. Rifleman are down to half health. The other rifleman over here trying to sort of do some damage there. While these chaps are in a bit of a problem. Outgunned and outmaneuvered. That's sort of the advantage a Schwimmwagen can give you. And these riflemen are really in a problem now. We are seeing some engineers rushing in, and of course I know what's going on. He's getting flamethrowers. Rifleman here getting pushed away. There we go. At the exact same moment, flamethrowers, Schwimmwagen damaged engine. But the engineers themselves are not doing too well. And there we go. And again, note, I'm not saying all of this because, oh, I'm so clever. No, it's actually to explain why I'm doing this, what's happening. Sort of, so you might, decide, do we actually want a Schwimmwagen early on or something like that, or a bike? And there we go, negative cover, really taking a toll on these riflemen. Already dropping fast again. That's something you have to be aware of with negative cover. Your troops become easier to hit, and they take much more damage. In this case, this meant some really good shots here from my Grenadiers. Schwimmwagen, they're in dire need of repairs. It's fought well for the fatherland, but also note repairing actually sort of does a bit to your upkeep rate, if I'm not mistaken. But it's not a huge deal, but still it's there. Pioneers laying down mines. I'm of course perhaps expecting he might be trying to hit me from that flank, so MG setting up there for the moment. Also, bad idea for me to sort of be standing about doing nothing with my full Grenadiers here. I mean, I might have been actually been better off sort of in the meanwhile laying down barbed wire here, but there we go. I am in fact wiring off this area. Why am I doing that? So he can't run directly at this point, which means partly he can't get into cover for his own troops, which is an advantage, but also he's going to have to move longer to actually get to any cover and get any sort of position where he can get close to me, which is an advantage because that means my full Grenadiers can much more safely for longer time fire at his men. And again, that's one of the reasons why you want to use barbed wire. But MG up there, setting up to a slightly overwatch position down there. Moving in, full Grenadiers moving in. Of course, Schwimmwagen providing fire support. Rather moving up here, while the rest of the force sneaks in through there. And of course, I prioritize flamethrowers always being a larger problem. So they are running into a very nice situation there, quickly getting gunned down. And then of course it's back to the riflemen who are now in light cover. My troops are mostly in heavy cover, although right here there's no cover. Again, remember, cover only applies if your troops are actually behind it. So these chaps do not get it, but I do maneuver about. And of course the Schwimmwagen still providing firepower against those dastardly riflemen of the 1st Infantry Division pushing onwards. And there we go, slowly being chewed down. More full Grenadiers hopefully arriving. Skirmish phase also completed, so I'll soon be able to get a Kriegbags if I fancy that. And mines here to protect my flanks. Once more rifle moving up. Full Grenadiers rushing out to the wrong side of the cover. Get back towards it, men now. Still the riflemen are not doing too well either. Riflemen sneaking up on the eastern flank. 2 kills for the Schwimmwagen. Engineers moving up there with a flamethrower, perhaps something to hit my MG. But they do get spotted, I believe, and these riflemen are not doing too well again. Light cover versus heavy cover versus lots of full Grenadiers and a Schwimmwagen. Not necessarily the best situation. Engineers getting spotted, and there we go. Rifleman hit a mine, heavily wounded, 1 man down. Schwimmwagen pushes on for the fatherland, hoping to get a few of them as they retreat. And flamethrower engineers again. Barbed wire does provide a bit of protection in that sense again. And I mean, this rather fits nicely towards all of this map. Really makes it a lot harder for your opponents to really get to the sweet spot, which is right here on this side of the road. So those things again can matter. Though I am being slightly more depleted here. 1 Volkswagen squad has been forced back. Kriegbags on the way, and what he's going for? He's actually going for a weapon support center. I mean, that's quite interesting. Of course, he might realize charging onwards it's not quite going to work for him. He might be getting a sniper, then again he might be fearing the might of the Schwimmwagen, the awesome might. Or of course he might be going for a mortar. That could certainly work to bombard my positions. Fraps still being a bit silly, but still. Rifleman coming under fire as usual. Fraps stop. And back to the fight. Some Volkswagen's getting equipped with the MP40. Hang on. Perhaps Fraps being more cooperative. Schwimmwagen continues to take fire, but now the MG42 taking up position there, joins in the fight. MP40 equipped Volkswagen's moving up, though this is not really a tactic that was really applicable in Normandy. These sort of mostly automatic weapons equipped German troops really only came about by the time of the Ardennes. And they were not really meant to have MP40s, but actually STG-44s. In this case, riflemen, nasty encounter with the MP40s right there. Getting torn to bits. Mortar fire though joining in. A nice position right there. Certainly making it a bit harder for me, but certainly that was a nasty loss right there to VulpusLupus. Mortar getting slightly pushed back. Schwimmwagen on the hunt. Volkswagen taking losses right here to the right, and he's also laid a mine down there. Quite interestingly enough. And the Volkswagen's right there get pushed away. And this mortar is not doing too well. Riflemen are moving on. Trying to get the Schwimmwagen, who has actually managed 6 kills now all of a sudden. And the MG42 slightly shift positions. And the Schwimmwagen runs into some nasty riflemen. American commander, they're pushing on, not really holding a lot of the territory, but I am doing a sufficient amount of damage to him. And of course, having the Schwimmwagen soak up the damage only to have it repaired is certainly helpful. But we are seeing Kriegbergs up. Pack 38 as the first unit, Half-Track as the second unit. And I have gone for Terror, I have gone for Seal. Might also be going an inspired assault anytime soon. And you know, be careful about rushing into MP40 equipped troops or any sort of automatics. It can end up a bit badly. Flank though a bit exposed. Pioneers moving out with flamethrowers, and also note a bunker is up. Medic bunker getting upgraded. Always try to work, you know, against attrition. Can really help you. Volksgrenadiers manning. I usually prefer Pioneers, but in this case it was rather urgent. I got something out there to the front with those MGs manned. And once more, the mortar opens up, getting the MG crew. Bugger. Trias ender up, that's going to help him a bit, although a supply up which he has up would be of help, and of course a medic station. In meanwhile, Half-Track dealing with some engineers right over here on the western flank. Fighting continues. And our American opponent sets up for another assault on the eastern flank. He seems to have given all up on really making any major moves towards this cutoff point, which is what a lot of American commanders actually prefer to do against the northern Wehrmacht players. Duel of flamethrowers. Who shall win this game of fires? Apparently the Pioneers. As some poor bastard catches on fire. Volksgrenadiers moving up, Riflemen pushing on. And of course the mortar firing away as well. Half-Track moving in. Schwimmwagen not really repaired though. And there we go. MGs on the Half-Track doing quite a bit of damage. Knocking out one rifleman. And the Volksgrenadiers moving up with the MP40s as per usual. Mortar quickly retreats this time around. Awful close to hit that Volksgrenadier team though, or squad. Now in this case the Volksgrenadiers need to be careful, they're low on health and they're running strange to some riflemen. And what happens here? He's going for a tank depot. I rush in. Why do I do that? To disrupt his tank depot from being set up. Well, he's sort of delayed until I can get something to really counter it. Also note he's just gone airborne. And there we go. He's actually forced to cancel his tank depot because my Half-Track keeps shooting at his engineers and he doesn't want to lose those. Grenadiers have also arrived. My Half-Track is quick to get out of there, not quite fancying all of this. And of course airborne, of course, means recoilless rifles. And recoilless rifles tends to be bad for your Half-Track's health. Medics moving in to pick up the wounded. Grenadiers pushing onwards. Veterans see one rifleman. Not sure where the Infantry division would have gotten the Half-Track though. I found it, might have had it from some of their supply columns, I suppose. Could have had one. For purposes unknown. But Schwimmwagen now fully repaired, moves up. A bit of veterancy would do the Half-Track and the Schwimmwagen well. Level 1 would actually give them a 25% damage reduction bonus. But the airborne are there. Grenadiers grenading. 2 airborne down. Schwimmwagen, of course, also running a bit of firepower. And just my luck, he actually treats the airborne before he can get their recoilless rifles to actually fire. Which is actually quite a fortunate little thing. Mortar though sets up. And begins firing right into Jerry lines. Misses though. And I set in for the Half-Track. I do make the mistake of moving in the Schwimmwagen, which gets knocked out in this case. It has served faithfully, but sadly I wasted it. Much to my distress. It was a good Schwimmwagen, a proud Schwimmwagen, which of course was a sort of amphibious Kubelwagen, essentially the German Jeep. Was quite handy, although at earlier stage of the war they actually had a sort of lot of variants of those little vehicles because they had a lot of different factories producing them. They had French, Austrian, Czech, all that sort of stuff. Engineers rushing right into here, and he goes straight for the Half-Track, sensing prey. And what do? I spring inspired assault, and my 10 Volksgrenadiers fire away madly, knocking out all but one. My Volksgrenadiers are here loose though. Medics pulling in the wounded, and I secure one recoilless rifle, thus denying it to the Americans, of course, knowing he's getting a tank depot no matter what. I only delayed it. A recoilless rifle can be of help against enemy armor.
We are losing a fuel point.
Although the American mortar is once more firing up, which is less than great. But so far, I mean, this sort of barbed wire fortification has rather helped me quite a bit. It's really made it difficult for him to sort of get up here, because again he sort of had to move over the longer ways, the more open routes, the less direct routes. And usually if you can deny the direct route to your opponent, you're actually gotten quite a bit ahead. So that means stuff like that does matter. Grenadiers getting reinforced, more Volks Grenadiers, and we are of course seeing another Grenadier team ready for the fight. Though no Shermans as of yet. He's actually taking quite a beating, but he's not giving up. He is not giving up. In fact, he's utterly refusing to surrender, which is certainly a good thing for an American commander. Flamethrowers moving up, scorching the Volks Grenadiers. Volks Grenadiers moving in, though they might lose. Who wins? Lots of death on both sides. And he might benefit from actually getting some supplied upgrades. That could be a bit of a problem for him if he doesn't get. Then again, a medic station would also help him a bit. I mean, my medic bunker has already produced one Grenadier squad for me, and that's always a nice start. Several Panzerx again. I've seen what's coming, which means I'm getting a few Panzerx just in case, because I might risk my pack getting outflanked, and I've in fact got another pack just in case. As you're going to need quite a lot of anti-tank fire to really get a Sherman if you're not careful. Light fighting over here on the flanks. Americans making another push towards the center. Mortar also moving up. Will he be able to pull it off? Will he get the MG in the house? Cutting more wire, I mean, that's a good move. And again, wouldn't be possible if I had troops there, but sadly I haven't really been keeping an eye there. I've been slightly more cautious. Again, I'm fearing the armored push and don't want my troops to be too exposed without deeper support. We're going in after the MG-42, flanking up on the right flank, burning them alive. MG crew really needs to consider getting out of there, and meanwhile pushing up here. Pioneers taking losses, Grenadiers firing away. And setting up position there. Sturmarming up for me, by the way. And some Pioneers running into a bit of a problem. Pack gets exposed. Sherman on the way, about time. Grenade on the Engineers, getting two right away. Pack in trouble. Volks Grenadiers and Grenadiers perhaps trying to protect it, while these Engineers are trying to cut off this point. In fact, they're trying to reconnect their fuel point right there.
Observation posts report
and Pack gets cleared out. Volks Grenadiers with MP40s moving out at the same time. Doesn't look like the VulpusLupus has secured himself grenades or anything like that. Mortar has gained veterans 1. That's actually quite a boon, if not a bonus. But the news is quickly tiding once more, but there we go. Sherman ready. Also, a lot of munitions for him. I don't think he should be getting so much right away. I think he might benefit more from actually using that manpower to get some infantry. He's actually pretty low, or at least get a medic station up to sort of help with the high attrition he's suffering. But of course, this game is far from over. Volks Grenadiers coming under fire here. Grenadiers moving in to support. Sherman pushing onwards. Grenadiers, one man down from the Sherman. Volks Grenadiers might want to consider getting out of there. And getting out of the front door. Oh, they're clumping up. Oh, mortar round gets them. Oh, bother. But a Nebelwerfer is ready for at the same time, but that was a bit of a blow. One infantry squad down. Sherman breaking out on the western flank. The 1st Infantry Division now with armor support getting ready to push on. MG also a bit further away, leaving my other flank here a bit exposed as well. Although I am quick to sort of mine off this house just in case. And now he's actually gotten himself a 30 caliber of his own, recruiting one of those that dropped down. That's not a bad idea.
Enemy unit down.
And veterans 1 for the rifleman. Looks like he got something. I'm not entirely sure what. Sherman taking a bit cautiously. Sturmgeschütz arriving, and again, 352nd Infantry Division was actually one of the few sort of regular infantry divisions to actually get those. At least by this stage of the war. It wasn't really meant to have it, but it was what it got instead of martyrs. And an engineer team getting run over by the MP40 equipped Volksgunners with 32 kills. That's nuts. And he secured himself another mortar, actually increasing the amount of mortar fire he can get off on me. Volksgunners are flanking the 30 caliber, but running into quite a bit of riflemen. And Sherman being hunted down by the Sturmgeschütz, but I am a bit cautious. I don't send it in too far because I don't know what there might be. Mines or anything. No, Kampfkraft sends up as of yet. Pioneers holding the building. Coming on, attack from Rifleman Veterans 1.
Enemy unit.
Pioneer squad down. Volksgunners and Grenadiers counter-attacking. Airborne's moving up the western flank. And there we go. Mine in front of the house kills one, pins the rest. Rifleman center getting pushed away. Nebelwerfer fires. Doesn't really do a lot of damage to the MG. Burns it a bit. Singes their hair. Mortar sets up once more. 12 kills. The other one also ready. 1 kill. More engineers on the way, but again, he's lacking in infantry. He needs more infantry. No more supply drops. He's really hoarding munitions. He really must be hoping to sort of set up for some lots of strafing runs now. But again, you know, you need boots on the ground first, mate. Mortar, though, down. Got grenaded. And of course, one has to remember, grenades can move over cover like this. So be cautious. Although, again, in company of heroes 2, you're probably not going to spot it like that. In that case, you'd probably have to sort of move about or have someone to watch for them. So that's a little fun fact there. Of course, what true sight might mean. I've been moving up. Grenadiers getting hunted down. BAR fire, ever vicious. Although again, he's only got 2 rifleman squads. Usually I'd recommend at least 3 to sort of get the full effect out of it. Barracks getting repaired. Pushing up here, heavy machine gun, rifleman, mortar. Small assault force and the airborne. Ah yes, propaganda war, forcing the retreat on those damn Yankees. And it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Yes, it's been some time, but I do feel I can get away with it this time around. Current situation, not perfect for the Americans. I mean, they certainly keep the aggression, they're certainly pushing on, but their losses they're taking, and again, I'm not entirely sure why he insists on hoarding that much munitions. He should consider getting some more riflemen. Now he's instead getting sticky bombs, but the medic station would also help him. Supply ad would also help him. And consider getting some of those, prepare for the long fight. It's really sort of preparing. I'm sort of getting the impression he's more trying to sort of prepare for a sort of one deadly thrust with airplanes roaring and destroying everything. Roar. Which can certainly work to a certain extent, but you know, you need the boots, the troops to follow up on this strike. And meanwhile, I'm certainly getting a larger force. Sturmgeschütz, Nebelwerfer, Grenadiers, prepared positions, all that, which, you know, won't necessarily work out very well for him. And that's sort of the thing he needs to be careful about. Very careful, in fact. Me, on the other hand, holding up alright. I need, of course, to keep up the pressure. Don't give him too much time to get a breather in, otherwise things are going to get very ugly. Of course, he's also going to need to repair that Sherman, perhaps supported with another one. Let us return to the fight, and let us return to me. And the inspired assault was actually an accident. For some reason I was trying to get another propaganda war. I saw that, my brain sort of registered, well, that button's not working, let's just press the other button. Hooray! And then I sort of registered, oh crap, that's inspired assault. Bugger. But that happens, sadly. Nebelwerfer once more firing, MG once more firing away as well. Sherman up on the western flank, Pioneers could be in trouble. Second Sturmgeschütz joining in. Stug for the victory. Ooh, Pioneers just barely get away, escaping the dreaded 50 caliber machine gun and the 75mm gun on the Sherman. Not a high velocity gun, more medium velocity. Which was a bit of a problem with the Sherman, which they certainly corrected. And they even increased the caliber just by a tiny bit. And mortar team running into some MP40s. They might even get killed on the retreat. No, just barely getting away, quite fortunately. 30 caliber setting up. MP40 equipped Volksgunners is pulling away. And I actually snag a mortar right beneath his nose. figuring, well, if he's not going to use it, I might as well. Airborne getting off a satchel charge on the medic bunker, but it doesn't quite disrupt it. Satchel charges are more suited actually sort of dealing out with obstacles, tank traps or something. Or for example a bit of heavy like this. That's sort of more what it can work towards, I think. And then you can sort of follow up with a quick assault. It doesn't necessarily always work against bunkers. Rifleman marching straight into the MG42 and of course the Sturmgeschütz. The backbone of the Wehrmacht, essentially, most produced vehicle. Although the Stug IV was produced in a lot fewer numbers than the Stug III, which was the mass-produced one. The Stug IV only came about because, well, they needed the vehicles, or the Sturmgeschütz, after the Stug III factories actually had been bombed. So they had to reroute some of the Panzer IV production towards Stug IVs. And of course it was just easier to sort of make a Stug variant on the Panzer IV rather than just sort of retool it towards Stug III. Which meant that there was also a lot less Panzer IVs than it could have been. But still, even then, they were pretty close, Stug IIIs and Panzer IVs. Sherman moving in here for an assault through there. Pack pointing in the wrong direction. Of course, he might be getting a nasty surprise. Stug's now veteran 2, gets an MG and a health bonus. Hit on the rear. Moving in to deal with these airborne. Riflemen, not airborne. Mortar getting pushed away. Sticky bomb on the Sturmgeschütz. Grenadiers with the Panzershake moving up. Others ready for the medic bunker. Damaged engine. Volkskrieger's getting mortared. Looks like some riflemen went out of action right there. No, those were the airborne. That's what happened to them. Sort of wondered. They lost to the Sturmgeschütz and the Grenadiers. And Sherman running into a bit of a problem here, but he is quick to recapture the most of the territory, at least that sense. I mean, don't just be active where the fighting is. Try to secure as much territory. You know, drain him, and that's certainly what VulpusLupus is doing right. He might be losing men, but I'm losing territory on the other hand, of course. I do have an awful lot of troops, partly because I've been able to keep them alive, plus the medic bunker, whereas he doesn't have a medic station, no supply yard. Essentially what VulpusLupus is doing is draining himself of everything vital. And again, he's trading manpower towards munitions when he needs more troops, not more munitions. He's barely using munitions. Veterans on the way for the Infantry. Mortar keeps firing away. That's certainly a nice job. I mean, it's quite refreshing to see an American actually use mortars that much. And again, gaining veterans 1, but you know, he lost that other one to the MP40s, which was probably the sort of major loss for him. And of course the Stug MG42 here providing a bit of a problem, and of course MGs with veterans 1 are much more accurate, much more lethal. Sherman could be salvaged. And there we go, strafing run. All my Volksgrenadiers on the western flank. Not entirely sure why I waited for that. Only killed 3. Of course, it protects his munitions, which he seems to be highly protective of. Rather than advancing up, this could be a sign of a push, although the 30 caliber is trying to get a problem. Nebelwerfer fire. Oh dear, he's losing the 30 caliber actually to the Nebelwerfer. Rifleman taking up position there, mortar advancing, anti-tank and moving up. Rifleman moving up here, getting caught in the middle of everything. Grenadiers with an MG42, inspired assault. Firing away madly, but looks like the Rifleman will be making it out of there. Stug coming under fire. Oh dear, I lost the MG I think in there. Oh dear, how terrible. And a tank destroyer actually now arrives. Strafing run, killing all but one, leaving one grievously pissed off Grenadier with an LMG. Firing madly into the side of the house. While Volksgrenadier is moving up southern route. Running into some engineers. Mortar firing away continually. And medic bunker actually gets knocked out, but the anti-tank gun is a bit exposed, so is the mortar. In fact, the entire flank is. Panzer Faust and recoilless rifle. Panzer Schrecks. Tank destroyer needs to be careful. Down to very little health. One hit more from something could mean its end. At the same time, his anti-tank on his rifle now exposed. They're cut off. And the Nebelwerfer. Oh dear, he might be losing another one. The entire building is on fire yet. Oh dear, it's still standing. And the riflemen are still alive inside it. But a strafing run actually saved somewhat, allowing the riflemen to push on. Anti-tank gun cleared out. Stug moving up. And now they're finally abandoning what remains of this pretty banged up house. And oh dear, gets a sticky bomb off and then gets crushed by the Sturmgeschütz. And the sticky bomb only kills the MG gunner. Bloody fighting. Grenadiers taking losses. And another Stug moves up to support the first one. Another sticky bomb off. And a damaged engine. Oh, the horror. That was a pretty bloody assault for VulpusLupus. It didn't really have that much to show for it. He certainly did some damage, but I did more. I mean, those are the sort of things you have to remember about these engagements. And again, I think that's sort of the problem he's making. He doesn't have the resource to really last in a longer fight. And I'm sorry, again, with the medic bunker partly, but also, just a bit of veterans and good unit preservation, I'm able to do so. And of course, now I can sort of slowly begin to sort of focus on getting most of the territory away from him. Another Hellcat arrives, though. He seems quite keen on those, perhaps trying to sort of outmaneuver my Sturmgeschütz. Just firing the Stug into the darkness, hoping to hit something. Usually works. 34 kills for these Volksgrenadiers, doing quite a lovely job for the fatherland. And riflemen suddenly finding themselves surrounded as more Grenadiers and Volksgrenadiers arrive to the scene. Oh, strafing run! Several Volksgrenadiers go down, but the Grenadiers barely take any damage. And there we go, Hellcats roaming out like a pair. Pioneers take losses. Stug comes under fire. Running into a lot of fire, in fact. King Tiger being pulled in from reserve. That's also going to be a nice little thing. And another Stug actually gets ready, thus giving me 3 Stugs. That's about a small battery, really, and they were sort of designated as batteries, depending on, of course, they were independent Stug uptilings or battalions. Now the grenade on the mortar, in this case, it doesn't really do much. Otherwise, of course, it would have Stug platoon in this case, since it was attached as a Panzer Destroyer or Tank Destroyer unit, Panzerjäger. Though again, they weren't really meant exclusively that. They were assault guns, which meant both dealing with infantry and tanks and other bits. Meanwhile, VulpusLupus cloaking up the Hellcats before repairing them. Interesting move, and again, lots of munitions, not lots of everything else. Again, he needs to get some more boots on the ground and stop just spending it all on supply drops. It's certainly a bit peculiar behavior to see from a high-ranking American commander. I mean, level 15 is not exactly beer and Skittles. And moving into a rather voluminous MG firewall. Stugs and Grenadiers with an LMG. Mortar rounds flying. Nebelwerfer fire rockets. Stug getting sticky bombed. And the Grenadiers moving against the LMG. While the riflemen themselves are getting pummeled by the Sturmgeschütz. And a Hellcat rushes right into everything. Quite bold, getting hammered though by the packs and the Stugs. And another strafing run, actually stopping those Grenadiers. Doing a bit of damage, but some others. And this is actually an accident. I thought there was a BAR. And it rather looked like it, but no, it was a mortar I got there. So now I got 2. Both American, both 60mm. With the American 60mm mortar actually being what they had on the platoon level, or the company level, whereas the Germans used the 82mm mortar. On the larger level, the Americans used a 82mm mortar themselves, but the Germans actually used a 120mm mortar, which was a Soviet one. They had basically copied off. So I'm not entirely sure what we'll be seeing in company views 2. probably will be seeing the Soviets with the larger mortar, but I'm not entirely sure what the Wehrmacht will be getting in return. Perhaps the Infantrie geschütz, who knows? Anti-tank gun drops in. And both Hellcats are down. He's not really doing well. Stug, though, goes down to the anti-tank gun, gaining veterancy 1 with the same breath. Rifleman continues, and again, I mean, it's quite amazing to see how VulpusLupus just keeps fighting on. Volksgunners finding themselves cut off. Main gun destroyed. Anti-tank gun getting flanked. Stug could get, yes, sticky bombed. And now things are slightly falling apart right here. Eastern flank wrecked. Veterancy 3 and Veterancy 2 rifle mortar itself could also be cleared out. But a forced retreat saves the mortar. Barely. And he keeps on calling in supply drops. I really think he should get some infantry, or at least a medic station up, before he keeps getting more of those.
You're losing infantry squad reporting casualties.
And a Königs here arrived from reserve. Another strafing run. Not doing an awful lot of damage here. And I think this is actually part of a miscalculation by VulpusLupus, you know, and a part of perhaps a more set strategy, but as you might have noticed, it's actually not quite working for him. I mean, it might have probably worked against others, but he simply suffered too many losses for it to be effective. Veterancy 2 rifle moving in at Veterancy 2 Grenadiers with an LMG. Already one rifleman down. Down one man more. And of course, up close, the LMG is much more effective. And the riflemen actually end up losing pretty badly. Even. Surprisingly. And the Volksgunners with the recoilless rifle, which they actually never really get to use against any armor. I'm sure little Hans there is most disappointed. Oh, but I wanted to crack open an American Panzer. Veterancy 3 riflemen now trying their luck. Moving into a lot more fire. Again, one man down to the LMG. Volksgunners now going, oh, strafing run. Gets several. Kills many. Pins. All 3 victory points in the hands of the 352nd First Infantry Division pushing on. But there's not a lot left. The base is getting bombarded with incendiary rockets. And again, I mean, so many machine guns and mortars. And an anti-tank gun. But no real infantry to really carry on the fight. It's tragic.
Front shifting. Routes of gravity territory for us.
And I mean, let's just stop there. This is pretty much the end. Nothing exciting really happened after this. He's not really going to be advancing any further. We'll just see the LMG kill some more. But there you go. I mean, yes, just a quick match, but, you know, sometimes I want to do that. Most of them are an hour long, and, well, you know, plus I thought it was an interesting game myself. And again, I also usually like them because then I can sort of explain the more intricate parts and explain why I'm doing these things and that, which I gather some people who actually like, so you can sort of, you know, put more thought into your own actions. So there we go. I mean, but what sort of can we learn from this game? I mean, an early Schwimmbang in this case rather helped me a lot. It allowed me to know when to strike. It covered my flanks. It really allowed me to gain an advantage against one rifleman team. For example, made it much harder for them. Protect against flanking attempts by engineers and so on. Really nice. Of course, also this barbed wire ensconcement was quite effective early on. I mean, again, try to sort of use barbed wire where you sort of expect for your opponent to do the most direct routes and to sort of make him forced to go longer routes. Make it more difficult for him to move about. Medic bunker, nice choice. Lack of medic station. Lack of trios and upgrades. That's bad. He get absolutely beaten, and I think he was sort of stuck in a track where he was sort of just trying to hope desperately that strafing runs would save him, yet they wouldn't. Again, you know, you need boots in the ground, in particular as the Americans. And of course, you know, MP40s, nice as well, and of course, veterancy, in particular also for Stugs, can be quite nice, also, although I lost 2. And of course, you know, a good use of Inspired Assault can really help a lot. So there you go. I do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is ImperialDane saying cheers.